Hi, my name is Amber. I'm an education student and I'm here to share with you my ever-changing knowledge about education, specifically about curriculum and pedagogy. I will do this by telling you my story of my journey through ECS 203. I will start off where it makes sense to start, my starting point. What knowledge base did I have at the beginning of this course? I will continue on to explain how this course has expanded my knowledge by shaping, changing, and even replacing my existing understandings. I will discuss my educated opinion of my current knowledge and understandings of curriculum and pedagogy. I will share my approach to how I will utilize the curriculum to the advantage of the students' learning and my flexible and adaptable style of pedagogy. In conclusion, I will leave you with some thoughts on education as a whole. The starting point for my knowledge of curriculum and pedagogy begins with my solid foundation of learning. After high school, I started working in a childcare center. I loved it. Started taking early childhood classes and soon completed my diploma. This gave me a solid understanding of all areas of child development, creating a safe, enjoyable, and equitable learning environment, and how to plan and implement a developmentally appropriate program. Next came along these two amazing human beings. Being a mom has been the most rewarding part of my life. I try to teach them everything I can about this beautiful world, and in turn, they teach me so much more. Using the knowledge I already had, I could define or explain curriculum as the information required to be passed on in a specific grade and subject. It held detailed plans of what exactly needed to be taught by the teacher. My understanding of pedagogy was how we pass on knowledge, or simply put, how we teach. Now let's move on to expanding my knowledge. In order to become the effective, equitable, supportive, accepting, and fun teacher I wish to be, I need to have a growth mindset. The world is constantly changing and growing. This means that as a teacher, I must do the same. My understanding and knowledge in regards to curriculum has undergone the most growth and change. I understood curriculum as detailed information and specific facts that needed to be passed on to students. I am happy to tell you this is not true. So then what is curriculum? I would have to say that I now know it as more of a guide. Curriculum is pretty vague, which I look at as a positive and something I can use to my advantage. I'm able to teach relevant content, true content, and content that will challenge students to rework their understandings and strive to create a more equitable society. A very important part of curriculum, the hidden curriculum, is often forgotten about or overlooked. It can be as simple as calling on male students to help move things that are heavy. Knowing this can portray male as the only strong gender, I must challenge all of my personal biases and know that all students are capable. A big part of curriculum is citizenship education. As an important part of hidden curriculum, citizenship education has been used to push out product. Students are to be ready to contribute to society and fall in line. My approach goes completely against this, but I'll touch on that later. One of my favorite takeaways from this course is about queering curriculum, breaking out of the so-called norm of just teaching relevant majority information. By diversifying the curriculum, we can have content that includes all people's views, rather than being closed-minded and only looking at white people's views. Treaty education is very new to me still, as it didn't have any part of the curriculum I was taught. I have learned a lot, but know I still have so much knowledge to gain and understand on the subject. The most important thing I have learned about treaty education is that it is not Indigenous education. The Western civilization is the one lacking understanding of the subject, so it makes more sense to look at it as settlers' education. I want to learn more about teaching treaty and gain a better understanding of how to incorporate it into all subject areas. Now on to the pedagogy side of things. Pedagogy is how we pass on materials to students. The exploratory approach is not my favorite. The explanatory approach is not my favorite. The teacher talks, the students listen. Not much interaction. Exploratory? Way more fun. More hands-on and being involved in your own learning. Teacher versus learner-centered pedagogy needs to have a balance. The more the students are involved, the more they actually learn. When teaching, we must be aware and constantly challenge our biases. Materials and content need to include all identities in a respectful and appropriate manner. Having one book that includes a family makeup outside of the white settler norm, mom, dad, kids, is not enough. All cultures, identities, and abilities need to be equally represented within all subject content and materials. Now, how will I use my new knowledge of curriculum and pedagogy to the advantage of my students? An iceberg is the perfect representation of how I want to approach teaching. The top is tiny and represents the Saskatchewan curriculum. This giant hidden part that sits under the water, this is the important stuff that I will focus on and pour my heart into. The important part, this is where all of my students see their own identity represented, respected, and celebrated. The little details, the simple things that mean so much, like skin color markers that include all skin colors. I want to relate all content to things that are relevant in their lives. Things that matter, not just 2 + 2 = 4, and we read from left to right because I say so. I want to teach my students how to learn, how to question, how to challenge something they know is wrong, and be able to advocate for themselves and others. The hidden curriculum, the biggest, most important part. And in conclusion, the end. Wait, what? There really isn't an ending. Knowledge is ever changing and growing, just as my learning journey is and should be. Thank you for listening.